Welcome back to another episode of the Casey Campbell podcast. Casey Campbell with you, of course. We are pleased to be joined by Derek Gluchacki. How are you?
Good, Casey. How are you? Thanks for having me.
I'm doing well. Of course, if you know, Derek is a finalist again for the Kulwicki program. He was one last year, and Derek's appeared on this channel a lot. Um, how have you been? What was it like to know that you're going to be back?
Yeah, no, I was surprised, to be honest. So many good names, and to narrow it down to only 13 and then five, so instead of the seven. So honestly, I was pretty surprised again. Obviously, I was hopeful to get back in. We ended up second in the program last year, so we're pretty motivated to hopefully be one spot better this year.
Yeah. So what was last year like for you in 2024? Because you had some tough competition you had to go up against.
Yeah, no, it was a challenging year for sure. We were the winningest driver on the American Canadian Tour with two wins, and we were able to win seven races in total, combined with some weekly races and stuff like that. So it was a good year overall. We had some trouble that kept us out of the championship chase, some engine problems, and a couple bad finishes there due to weather and stuff like that. But nothing to hang our hat on. They had definitely had a good year. Proud of what we accomplished and everything we were able to do off the racetrack. That's for sure.
So so going in because did you ever think you would accomplish everything that you did on and off the racetrack in 2024?
No, no, to say the least. I knew we'd have a pretty solid year on the racetrack. Our program's pretty good, but off the racetrack, I was just totally surprised with just everyone coming forward and participating and being willing to help and just enthusiastic over the whole having the boots at the racetrack and all that kind of thing. And honestly, the biggest thing for me was the American Foundation of Suicide Prevention. We did all the boots and stuff, like I was saying, at the racetracks, and we had some events outside the racetrack to spread awareness and raise money for them and all that kind of stuff. And just the amount of people that would come up and be appreciative and share their stories of stuff they've been through, people they know, and just take the information and be able to provide people with a place to go to, get the resources they need and stuff like that. I never expected that to be as big as it was.
Yeah. So this season for you, what are we expecting in 2025?
Yeah, so we're primarily going to be on the American Canadian Tour once again. Hopefully, vying for a championship this year. Been so close many times, but I'm going to pop into some bigger weekly races. I know that the probably the biggest race of the year for me is the Keith Morse Memorial up at Riverside for $20,000 to win. So looking forward to that and some other bigger weekly races around here in New England.
First, you got that big deal up in New Hampshire too.
Yes, yes, the Northeast Classic going for four in a row this year.
Yeah. I mean, to win not just once, twice, but three times at that event, what is that like for you? Because that's probably one of the biggest races for your area.
Yeah, I mean, for us in New England, Loudon, that is our Daytona, right? That's the biggest track. That's our home on the NASCAR circuit for sure. But yeah, it's super special to me. I really enjoy going to that racetrack. The first time I was there, I was a little intimidated by it. Just the big grandstands, you see the press boxes, all that, just totally different from anywhere else you'll ever be, short track wise. But now I fell in love with the place to say the least, and everyone there with ACT and stuff, they make it really special. They really try to give the whole experience to you. So super grateful for that, and just really looking forward to getting back there this year.
Absolutely. So the off-track side of things, I know that was kind of like the big stepping out of your comfort zone, especially talking about something that a lot of people tend not to talk about a lot. So kind of go into that.
Yeah, honestly, it was definitely tough for me because I've been in my bubble for so long. It's tough to get out of it. But yeah, honestly, it really helped me, excuse me, get out of my comfort zone and just be able to. I was really nervous about it, through the whole beginning of it. And then once we had a couple boots and people would come over and they'd share their story and just you'd see how appreciative they were, and it really made me, sit back and think about it. Like, we're really helping people here, and it's really like impacting, even just at the short track level. Just with a small platform like we have, it really made me a lot more comfortable with it, knowing it was making other people comfortable coming up, talking, getting the resources they need, and stuff like that.
Okay, so of course you were when you were finalists, there was obviously something the program did a little differently this year. We got some we obviously I work for the program, but we were able to get some big time we got our some of our media friends were able to interview you guys, and you got interviewed by pretty much someone from your area. What was that what was it like to get interviewed by Alan Bestwick?
Yeah, I feel like that was definitely a once in a lifetime deal. Super thankful for every one of you guys making that happen. So, but it was cool. I learned a lot about him throughout that interview. He started at Seekonk just like I did in full size cars, and he was announcing and stuff, obviously way back in the day. But it was super cool. I watched all his highlights and stuff from TV and all that, all his, his most famous calls and stuff before the interview, and it was cool, super cool to talk to him. His voice, anyone recognizes it in the racing world right away. So it was a super cool. It was honestly probably one of the, you know, probably will never get that chance again, to say the least.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely one of the voices that like if you shut your eyes, you'll know who that is. So, and want to personally thank Alan for doing that. So, I know this is a big year for you in 2025. You're in the program again. You're you got a big year coming up in ACT Tour. You're also getting married at the end of the year. So, what's that going to be like?
Yeah, it's definitely gonna be a tough year to balance everything, with wedding planning and all that stuff. So I'm sure it's gonna get stressful towards the end of the year with the wedding being right after race season. So, but I'm really looking forward to it. We've been together for almost 5 years now, so looking forward to the day I get to marry.
Yeah. So, I know she's kind of helped you so much. Like what has it been like to have, someone that just I mean, obviously, you know, she comes from a racing family as well. Of course, you're a first generation racer yourself. What's it kind of like to just, have her by your side throughout all this stuff?
Yeah, I mean, she's my biggest supporter for sure. And, she also tells me when I do stuff wrong. So that's huge too, right? To just have someone who's going to be that honest with you and, keep you in line and stuff like that. But no, she's honestly been a huge help. She's definitely helped me expand everything to do with racing, really. She definitely gets me out of my comfort zone when I need to and stuff like that. So just having her in my corner is just, honestly really changed so much for me.
Yeah. Um, so what are some of the big things you want to accomplish, this year? I mean, obviously, winning the championship, winning the program and all that, but is there other little things that you want to do this year?
Yeah, for sure. Obviously, like you said, ACT and all this, the Kulwicki Championship would be the racing goals, but we've set a goal for ourselves. We're gonna work with Make a Wish this year, and we want to raise enough money to, grant a wish for one of the kids. So off the racetrack, that's probably one of our biggest goals.
All right. All right, Derek, thanks so much for spending a few minutes with us. Congrats on getting in the program again, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Casey. I appreciate it.